Hi there, I'm Colin Lamb, aka the Tone Wizard, and I hope you're doing very well wherever it is that you may happen to be. I'm doing very well myself. Thank you very much for asking. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Shure SM7B, and specifically, I'm going to be bringing up 5 problems that I personally have with the microphone. Now, before I do that, I just want to say that I love this microphone. I've had it for about 5 years. I bought it used. It's excellent. I use it almost exclusively in all my videos, with this video being an obvious exception because I only have one and I'm holding it. But I think it's valuable for anybody looking to buy that microphone to be aware that there are some problems that you're going to have with it, unless you're an expert. And if you're an expert, guess what? This video is not for you. I'm not an expert, and I think that a lot of the people who are in a situation similar to myself are not experts, and we just want something that will get us up and going and that will work well for us. And I do want to say once again that this will do that for you, but you might encounter 5 problems, which I'm going to outline in this video. If you're new to my channel, please do check out my other stuff. Subscribe to the channel if you like the video, and like the video if you like the video. If you don't, then don't. That's your choice. But go check out my channel. I've got lots of interesting stuff on there, and I like to think something for everybody. In addition to these gear reviews, which I don't do a lot of, if you want me to do more in the future and suggest something, just let me know down in the comments of this video. But let's get right into it. So this is a great microphone, but the first problem you're probably going to find with it is that it's very quiet. And what I mean there is that you're going to plug it in and put it into your interface or whatever you may happen to be plugging it into, and you're going to go to use it, and you're going to find that it's going to be quiet, that you're going to have to crank the gain on whatever you're plugging this into all the way up to get a nice loud sound. And there's a couple of problems with that. One being that when you go to edit whatever you've recorded later, you're not going to have what they call headroom, which is the ability to turn that up cleanly. You might get clipping or crackling. The other thing that's going to happen is that because it's a dynamic microphone, which means that it has a very specific range of focus, as in what's right in front of it, you're going to find that if you're in tight on it, it might clip, and then if you go off to the side, it might sound better or worse, etc. So it's a quiet microphone. Which in my particular usage is handy. I live in a small apartment, and if I use a big condenser microphone, I'm going to get a lot of stuff coming in, like you can hear the fridge and stuff. So we're going to talk about the workaround to that problem in the next problem. So the next problem is related to that, in that because it's a quiet microphone, you're going to need to purchase other gear to get the most out of it. Now, there are people that say that you can fix the problems in editing and that you can use VST plugins and all that stuff. But as I said at the beginning of this video, I think there's a lot of people who are just going to want to get up and running, and they might not be experts on this microphone, and they're going to plug it in and they just want to go. So I don't think that having to do a bunch of post editing or having to use a bunch of effects in software that maybe people who are looking to buy this as their first nice mic aren't going to be very familiar with all those things. So that is a problem. And so what I've done to get around that problem is I use something called a cloudlifter, and this is a single channel. You can get a double channel cloudlifter, but basically what this gives you is clean gain. So it makes the microphone louder without a lot of the nasty clipping that you would get from just cranking your gain. And it also gives you the ability, after you've recorded in your software, to turn it up without it turning into fucking garbage. But that being said, when you're going to put one of these into your line, you're going to need more cables. So this is a problem because it's going to get expensive. So this, I believe, cost me, I think it was $200 Canadian when I bought it. And I'll put the prices up as we kind of go along for this stuff. And then you're going to need 2 of these cables. And I had to get 2 little short ones here because I'm often right beside what I'm plugging into, and I don't want 20 feet of cable to go right in. So I found these little guys here on Amazon. I can't remember how much they were, but I'll put the cost of that there. So you go out and you buy this microphone, which is costly, which we're going to get into, and then you need to get this sort of stuff, or you might need a very expensive interface that has nice gain features on there. But that kind of brings up a point that I want to make in general, is that when you're buying something and you're watching gear review videos, you do want to be careful with whose review you're watching, because if you're listening to a guy who's sitting in a $1 million studio and he's running the microphone through a tube preamp and $20,000 to $30,000 worth of onboard gear and mixers and all that, that's not really a review that's going to be relevant to you. And as you can see by watching my video, I'm in my room here with my son's crib next to me. So I'm not a professional, but I do like my videos just to sound okay. And I have found that with the cloud lifter here and that in a number of configurations, whether I'm plugging right into my iPhone through an iRig or into an interface. I find that this works great. So that is a problem. Now, the third problem that I'm going to bring up with this microphone is that it's heavy compared to a lot of other microphones. I've got a Shure SM57 here, which weighs probably less than half of what this mic weighs. And I'm not going to get into specs because you can read them on the box or on the website. You can do that in your free time. I find it to be boring. You can also go to a music store and pick one up and see how heavy it is. But this is very heavy, and the problem there is that most of us have cheap jam room boom arms, and most of us cheap out on those because they break all the time. They break all the time because they're cheap. It's a vicious cycle. I've got this microphone here on a nice Yorkville stand, pardon me, but the swiveling part, the articulating part broke, so I'm just using it like this. This would be ideal for this microphone, but using this on a standard boom arm, it's going to sag if you are trying to use it down low, or if you're using it in a talking head video like what I'm doing right now, it's going to sag a little bit. So it's heavy. Now, the workaround to that is one of these guys. You'll see people, I think people buy this microphone quite a bit because they see it on podcasts and people want to do podcasts. You see Joe Rogan spouting his wonderful array of knowledge into this microphone. You see, pretty much any podcast that you're listening to, if you've got a video, you're going to see this guy in there with the smaller windscreen. But you see them, they use the stands, the gator stands, and the big swiveling stands. There's disadvantages to those stands, in my opinion. One being is that they're expensive. To get a good one, if you buy a cheap one, it will not hold this up. It will break. I bought a newer one, and it did break. It was cheap, and it wouldn't hold it up. Broke through it in the garbage. The more expensive ones are double or triple the price. I think the best ones are about $250, $300, and they're stationary. They're stuck to a desk, and I don't care how well anything's made. If you start undoing it and doing it up constantly, and if you don't have a dedicated workspace, like you can see what I'm working in here, you're probably going to break that thing, in my opinion. But I found this at my local music store. It's an Apex little desk mount microphone thing. It just goes up and down, and it closes up like that. You can put that in a bag really easily, and I have found that it works great. Just put it on in front of me. I don't really like to have the mic in shot anyways. I do right now, but we're going to talk about that in a bit. But I just like it sitting in front of me stationary. I can just fold it up and put it away, and this thing will never break unless I decide to throw it out a window, in my opinion. So it's heavy. That's the third problem. The fourth problem I've kind of touched on before is that the SM7B is expensive. I believe brand new. My camera just started auto tracking me. That's wonderful. Who knows what else it's doing behind its closed circuit doors. Anyways, that's a good piece of gear too. It's a Hohem gimbal. I can do a review on that if you're interested. Let me know. But anyways, this thing is expensive. I bought a used one. I think it cost me about $500, and it was in great condition, and I've had no troubles with it whatsoever. Brand new, I think Canadian, you're looking at about $600. American, $450, $500. But it is a great microphone. It's built very well, and it will probably last you a lifetime. So it is expensive compared to, again, something like this, which we're going to get into. The fifth problem with this beautiful microphone, and again, I don't want to downplay. I love this microphone. I will use it in a video where I don't need to talk about it and wave it all around. But the fifth problem is that it might not be the right microphone for what you are doing. And mainly, you might be able to get another microphone that's more affordable or has a different range of features. This microphone has been used to record vocals. Not this specific microphone, but this one has recorded Michael Jackson, the guys from Metallica. You can put this on a guitar amp. You can mic an acoustic guitar with this. Vocals, background vocals. You can use it as a room mic if you have a good preamp. Again, and it's great. It's a great mic, but you might not need it. Realistically, you might need you might just be able to get by with a cheaper microphone, and then you can put money into things like, if you're doing a talking head video like what we're doing here, you might be able to put some money into lights, which I use. I bought a nice light, and I can adjust it and do all. I'm not really doing that right now. I shouldn't be doing that. I'll ruin the video. But you can get lighting. You can get the gimbal that I'm using to film this. You can get various stands and stuff. You could maybe put that money, if you don't have an interface as well, you could probably, for the price of that SM7B, you could get an interface, cables, and a very nice microphone and a light for that same price. So just think about that. That would be the fifth problem. Now, A man with 1,000 problems and no solutions is not a man you should be listening to. So I do just want to talk about those solutions again. So the microphone is heavy, but you can get a little stand like this for 20 bucks. The microphone is quiet, but you can get this nice gear, which you can use for other things. There are other ways that you can get a DI box and stuff like that, but you can fix the problem of it being quiet. So there's a solution. The other solution is that you could get a cheaper microphone. So plot twist. This video is being recorded on a fake SM57. It was $13 on Amazon. It took 2 months to get here. I did a video on it. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. You can always find these on there. They're illegal, but they're for sale, so you can get one. Now, I'm just going to say, when I say the SM7B might not be the microphone you need, I think I've been watching my audio meters. I don't think I've clipped. I've noticed some high levels. But what I'm going to ask you is my video any better or worse using a cheap microphone or using the expensive microphone? Would it really make a difference if you're still watching? So whatever you're doing, and I encourage you, if you're a podcaster, go listen to Mark Maron's early podcasts. If you're a Joe Rogan fan, listen to his early podcasts. If you're a Bill Burr fan, go listen to his early podcasts. Bill Burr's were recorded on his cell phone. And ask yourself, was it about the audio quality or the content? If you're a musician, obviously you want everything to sound crisp and nice. If you're a professional podcaster or a broadcaster, then there's a standard of production that you need to meet. But if you're like me and you're just looking to get on camera or get some music going and have some fun, maybe you don't need a $500 microphone. And like I say, you can use that same money and put it into all other stuff. So I'll give you a couple of other options. This is an actual SM57, and I'm just running this cheap one straight into an iRig, which is $70 Canadian, and then straight into my phone. And I'm not going to edit the audio whatsoever. This will arguably do the same job, probably a little better. It is a better microphone than the cheap knockoff. This is a Samson C02. This is a cool microphone because they're usually sold in pairs, and you can pick those up for about 120 bucks Canadian. And it's a stereo pair, which means you could use it as a vocal mic and then also use it to record a guitar. You can also use this, and I've seen it done to great effect, but my home boom stand here is broken, but I could boom this and have it out of shot, and it would sound great. I've used it. So those are a couple of solutions to the problems in whole. I've had this microphone for 5 years or so. I use it for all of my YouTube stuff, and I love the microphone, but you might not need it, and those are some problems that you should be aware of before you go out and splurge on this thing. At any rate, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. If there's anything you've seen in this video that you'd like me to elaborate on in a future video, please let me know in the comments. Like I say, if you feel like it, subscribe to my channel. If you don't, have a good one, and take care of yourself, because let me tell you something. In a land of $500 microphones that end up costing you $1,000, no one else will take care of yourself.